All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Illinois students, sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us this afternoon to learn more about finding your fit. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time throughout this presentation. We are in webinar mode, so your camera and microphone are off. The presenters and panelists cannot see or hear you. And then just to let you know, this is just one of many different sessions that is happening over the next 4 or 5 weeks, I think. So please feel free to view the full schedule at IACAC.org for that full schedule and to sign up for any additional presentations. And then this presentation is being recorded. So if you would like to access this information again later or share it with family and friends, you can also check out that same website, IACAC.org, to access the recording. I will now go ahead and turn it over to our presenters. So enjoy.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to be pulling up our presentation just in a moment here so we can introduce ourselves.
Awesome. I'll get started. My name is Amanda DeSimon. I am the Assistant Director for the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at Northern Illinois University. I work primarily with transfer students, but I've been at NIU for 7 years and have worked with incoming freshman students for most of the time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lo Elliott. I'm an admission counselor with DePaul University, and I work with incoming freshmen only, and I'm just really excited to be here.
And hi everyone, my name is Emily Scupian and I'm a freshman admission counselor at Aurora University. I have now been at Aurora University for 4 years and I've been working in the field of admission counseling for 6 years, and I'm just excited to be here with you all so we can talk a little bit about just some college tips and tricks on how to find your fit. So I'm gonna get started first, just kind of giving you a quick snapshot of Aurora University. If you haven't heard of us, we are a small to medium-sized private institution located in Aurora, Illinois. That is one of the suburbs, actually the second largest suburb of Illinois. And we are located on the far west side, which is where I like to say kind of where the suburbs end and then rural Illinois starts. So it's a really great marriage between those two areas of Illinois. We're right off of Interstate 88. And we're about, I believe, 45 minutes outside of Chicago. So we have over 50 majors and minors that you can choose from at AU, but our top 5 that are the most popular would have to be our business major, criminal justice, education, nursing, and social work. We have 6 residence halls on our campus. Students can live on campus or they can choose to commute. We do not have any requirements of where students have to live on campus, but there's plenty of spaces. I think we have over 700 beds, so a lot of different spaces for our students to live. And then for commuters, you can be commuting from your own home if you're in the nearby area, or if you were to get an apartment with some students, you could also drive from there as well. We are, as I mentioned, a private institution. We are a 4-year college, meaning that we offer bachelor's degrees. We also have master and doctorate level programs as well. We're a nonprofit and fully accredited university. For our undergraduate students, so those freshmen through seniors, we have about 4,200 undergrad students. So a lot of friendly faces for you to meet if you were to come to AU. And then for our admission requirements, we do have 2 different routes that students could go, especially with how things got crazy. I know not everybody was able to take the SAT this past year. We do have a traditional route and then a test optional route. The traditional route means that we are reviewing students based on their high school GPA and their SAT or ACT scores. The test optional route, of course, we're not going to be using any test scores if you don't have any to use for your application. Instead, what we're doing is just a very holistic review based on your high school transcripts, your GPA, and then the rigor of your courses on that transcript. We also have, our application is open already. It's free to apply, so it doesn't cost anything. The application is super quick, probably takes about 15 to 20 minutes for you to fill out, just some general information. Tell us a little bit about yourself, some clubs and organizations maybe that you're a part of, along with sending in those transcripts so that we can review you for admission. We also have campus visits available at AU. There's two different ways that you could do this. You could either do a virtual campus visit where we can take you on a virtual tour and we can still show you around, but from the safety of your home, and then we can talk a little bit about admission, or you could come on campus for an in-person visit. We also offer merit-based scholarships. They range from $3,000 to $15,000, and those are for students whether they do the traditional or the test optional route. And any admitted student will get a merit-based scholarship. We also have 22 D3 sports. We as well have intramurals and club sports as well. If you're interested in playing in college, we can always help get you connected with the athletic side to talk about that portion. And then 47 clubs and organizations, and those are always growing because students can start a club if they want to, but a lot of great already established clubs that our students would love to have you join if you were to come to AU. And then finally, just one other thing, we do have +1 programs. These are graduate degrees that you could move into after your undergrad program. For example, business, if you were to do that for your bachelor's degree, then you could apply for the +1 program, which is then a 1-year master's degree after your bachelor's. So just another option, a way to save some time and money and earn another degree at your time at AU. So now trying to think about if this might be your perfect fit. So this is just kind of an overarching idea of the small to medium private institution. Of course, we all are different and unique and have different things that make us special. So really, it's going to come down to what you think you want in your college. Research, of course, is going to be huge, but I have a few different tips and tricks about these smaller to medium private schools that might help you decide. So as I mentioned, based on our size, we do have intimate programs and on-campus events. So of those 4,200 students, some of them are commuting, some of them live on campus. So students are getting together in multiple ways on campus, but they're always staying connected, which is great. And we really love that feel of the connection on campus. Our campus specifically is very central and easy to navigate. You can practically walk from one corner of the campus to another in about 5 minutes. So you're not having to take a bus to get to any classes. Our residence halls are literally scattered amongst our academic buildings. So you could roll right out of bed and walk right into an academic building. Really makes it easy in the winter. So something to consider the travel time. It's just very easy to navigate. As I mentioned, we are a suburban campus. So in Aurora, we are located in a residential neighborhood. There's a lot of beautiful houses in the area. We have great neighbors, you know, just families walking their dogs. And then there's also a lot of amenities in the nearby town as well. So in Aurora, we've got a very beautiful historic downtown. There's great coffee shops and places for you to visit. We're right along the river. We have the Paramount Theater. And then there's just your general stores and shops that you could go to, chain restaurants. I love Target. There's a Target right up the road. So just things that you might need while you're in school are very close by. For schools in this category, even though we are small to private, some private schools might be in a different athletic division. So when you're looking through these smaller private schools, some may be D1, really just consider what level of collegiate sports you want to play at, and that will kind of help narrow down the colleges that you're picking. So just make sure that you're keeping in contact with these schools that you're interested in to find out what their division is. For us and a lot of private institutions, tuition is typically the same for in-state and out-of-state students. So that's something to consider whether you want a private school. You might find that benefit of not having a different cost if you were to be from out of state. Students are typically local and out of state, like I mentioned, so they could be commuting or living on campus. But my point is that when you're going to any school, you're going to be meeting a lot of different students from all walks of life, and it's really just a great time to meet different people and learn about them. A lot of these schools, you'll find with my colleagues who are going to talk soon as well, that a lot of us have great internship opportunities and clinical opportunities in the area. So really just think about, again, the town that your college is located in, and then those surrounding areas and where you can make connections for internships and clinicals based on your major. Again, depending on the school, you'll find whether they have different semester layouts. We're on the semester layout where we have a fall and a spring semester. Some schools are on trimesters, so just kind of thinking about when your classes start, when you might get breaks, and just kind of keeping in mind how fast-paced those classes might be. Ours are spread out over 16 weeks, so it really gives you a good time to absorb that information and get ready for your finals at the end of the semester. We also have study abroad opportunities. We are small yet mighty. We've got a great diverse population. Again, as I mentioned, students coming from all over. And then being a smaller school, the connections with faculty, I think that is invaluable. You really get to make those connections and they can help you when you're networking and moving through your college career and into your career for life. So that really does help those connections with faculty. All right, I'm gonna pass it on over to Lo.
And Emily, it looks like we have a question. Do students at Aurora often bring a car, or is public transportation more popular? Are there any discounts, or are most students have a car on campus? How does that work?
That is a great question. We have students who do it multiple ways. It really just, again, depends on what's a good fit for you. If you have a car and you want to bring it, we do allow students to have cars on campus, even freshmen. So you can have a car on campus, and our parking pass is free, so it doesn't cost anything to get that pass to be on campus. You just stick your sticker in the windshield and you're good to park in any of the designated lots. So students who are residents sometimes choose to bring a car, sometimes they don't, and that works too. Since we are in a bigger suburban town, you've got public transportation that you can use to get around, and it can take you to any of those stores if you need to. Or once you meet some friends, find somebody who's got a car, you can also do that as well. But yes, long story short, we do allow cars, and students get around with and without a car. They both work perfectly fine. Thank you, Lo.
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to talk a little bit about DePaul, and then we're going to go over some of the things that might make a school like DePaul a fit for you. So we are the largest private Catholic university. And the reason I want to mention that is obviously this is going to be a little bit different than Aurora in some ways, but also you're going to find a lot of commonalities. So that's why finding your fit can be kind of tricky to navigate. So that's why we're going to go over it. So we are about 15,000 undergrad and 23,000 students in total at DePaul. We're located in the city of Chicago. We have a dual campus system, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I'm located here in Lincoln Park. The picture behind me is the gateway to the Lincoln Park campus, but we also have a campus in the Loop. And that's really important because this is where DePaul might be a different fit for some students. And we'll go over that in the next slide. But we have 10 colleges and we have 130 undergraduate majors to pick from. Also a little bit different are some of the majors that are a little more popular at DePaul. That would look like film and television, health science, graphic design, PR and advertisement, and psychology, which kind of also makes sense being that we're located in the city of Chicago. You know, we are around like PR and ad. We're right here in the city is a large industry of like journalism and different sorts of productions, as well as, you know, films and television shows are filmed here in Chicago. So that kind of makes sense that those would be some of our more popular majors here. We are Division I, so we do not have a football team. So that's also something to consider. We are a basketball school. We have plenty of other sports that are really popular, but people do know us pretty much very well for our basketball team, especially our women's basketball team, who is outstanding. So, you know, what kind of atmosphere do you want around athletics, or if you're going to play sports? We have phenomenal, you know, soccer team, softball, all of that good stuff too. We have 12 res halls, 11 of which are located in Lincoln Park, and one is in the Loop campus. We'll talk a little bit more about that. 75% of our freshmen do live on campus. So for that first year especially, we are not a majority commuter campus. Most students are living on campus. However, being that we're located in the city of Chicago, commuting, and I think this is one of our kind of our tips and tricks at the end, it can mean a different thing for every school. So not every commuter or commuter student really means the same thing. So we're going to go over that as well. And then our admission requirements, we are test score optional. We've been test score optional for some time, and this year we're going to be even a little bit more flexible. So if you end up applying to DePaul, feel free to reach out about, you know, all of your different options, but you can apply test optional if you don't have a test score. We are free and we're on the Common App. So this would be something different than Aurora as well. We only exclusively use the Common App. So we are free through that, but it will take a little bit longer. And we are an optional personal statement, and we are optional letters of recommendation. We also will have visit options. If you're from Illinois, which should be the majority, if not all of you, we do have in-person tours going on right now that you can sign up for. And we also have a ton of virtual events, just like the one you're in right now, but hosted by DePaul. Our scholarships go up to $24,000, and we have students from all 50 states, 114 countries, and those wonderful students are participants in 350 plus clubs and organizations. So that's just a little background on DePaul. You want to go to the next slide for me, Emily? Perfect. So what I want to talk about when it comes to this type of institution is, again, we are a larger institution. So, you know, you will be on campus with thousands of other students here at DePaul. Luckily, we are able to have smaller class sizes. The majority of our classes are under 30, and our student to faculty ratio is 15:1. But I do think it's something to talk about, knowing that, you know, you are going to be on a pretty populated campus. And for some students, that's really what they're looking for, and others are maybe looking for a small school. So I always tell my students, be sure to, you know, don't really rule anything out. It would be a very great exercise for you to go explore or virtually visit these institutions and kind of compare and contrast what you like or don't like about the population size, because it does matter the amount of students that are going to be on campus. There's a fit for everyone there as well. We are an urban dual campus system. So this is what I was talking about, and this would be similar again to urban, private, large institutions or other urban institutions in general. We are very much integrated into the city of Chicago. So our students aren't, although you can have a car on campus, most students do not have a car on campus. We utilize the L train to get everywhere in the city as well between our two campuses that are just about 20 minutes apart. So you're accessing public transportation. It is included in your tuition. So you get a U-Pass that you can swipe and use that 24/7 to get all over the city, but again, between the two campuses. So it does create a lot of opportunity being in the city of Chicago. I mean, you're navigating the streets of Chicago, you're navigating the L system with employers, with future internship providers, all of those things. But again, that's going to feel a little bit different from maybe the suburban or rural environment we're going to talk about. That also helps us create a diverse student body. You know, we're pulling from, we have, again, students from all 50 states, 114 different countries. And as many of you know, being in Illinois, Chicago, DePaul very much represents a lot of what Chicago has to offer in terms of diversity and the diverse student body as well. Internships, again, in the city, there's a lot of opportunity because you are so close. A lot of my students can find internships where they can just hop on the L, they're there in 10 minutes. And a lot of that is concentrated here in Chicago. We do, of course, have connections across the United States, but being that we're in this part of the area, it is very beneficial. The quarter system. So this is, Emily was mentioning earlier that they're on the semester system. So this would be something that would be a little bit different. We are on a quarter system. You are attending school at DePaul for 3 out of those 4 quarters. That 4th quarter is summer, so most students are not taking classes. And you are going 3 10-week sessions. So the difference between this and a semester system then would be, this is going to move a little bit quicker. So it is a faster pace, and not necessarily because it's like a semester class fit into a quarter system. That's not it. It's just that, you know, 3-4 weeks in and you're coming up on midterms in a week. So it does move a little bit quicker, and you will take a wider variety of courses then throughout the year, because you'll take 3 to 4 each quarter. So you'll probably take about 12 different classes for a shorter amount of time, opposed to 8 for a longer amount of time. So again, that can fit all different types of students. And then, of course, again, being in Chicago and being right off the L, study abroad is very popular here. So we have over 80 programs, and this is, again, very similar to other urban campuses, just because we are so close to the major airports via the L, those connections are really important for us. So that might be something that if you're really looking to go abroad, and it's not to say that you couldn't do that at a small private or you know, a large public or another school. It's just that, you know, check out the different programs that they may have based on the availability, not just for Illinois and the 2 wonderful schools joining me, but for other schools maybe out of state. Their options might be different for where they have those programs. So that can also play into where that school is located in general. So I think that, you know, for DePaul, those students, you are, you know, some of your classes can be just a few minutes. Here in Lincoln Park, we do have a quad, and you can get that feel, but again, you are very much a part of the Chicago area. And I think that that kind of is one of the biggest things to think of when you're finding that fit.
All right, I will go on to talk a little bit about Northern. So Northern Illinois University is a public 4-year fully accredited research university. We're classified as large because we have around 12,000 undergraduate students. We are located in DeKalb, Illinois, which is about 65 miles west of Chicago. We offer over 100 academic programs, with some of our top programs being in business, education, engineering, nursing, and the visual and performing arts. We do offer accelerated master's in law programs, and some of those programs can be automatic admission if you're a part of our honors program, which is really neat. So in late January, early February, we announced that we were going test blind starting with fall 2021 applications. So to apply to the university, you do not need to submit your ACT or SAT scores. If you have a 3.0 or higher, you're automatically admitted to the university, and then between a 2.0 and 3.0, you would go through a review committee for a holistic review process, which basically means we're going to look at everything in your application, the classes you've taken, how you've been doing in your classes, you know, up until that semester, and then we might ask for additional things like essays, personal statements, letters of rec. Starting with our spring 2021 application, we are no longer having a fee to apply, so you won't get that, and you can apply either through the Common App or our NIU website application. We are currently offering virtual visits through our website at niu.edu/visit. These can be presentations on a variety of topics, one-on-one appointments with our admissions counselors, or a virtual tour. As long as everything continues to be stable on campus, we are planning to begin our limited in-person visits in mid-October. So pre-registration would be required for that, but we are going to hopefully see you all on campus soon. The total cost with tuition, room and board for NIU is around $24,000, and over 80% of our students receive financial assistance. So automatic merit scholarships range, if you have a 3.0 to a 4.0, you would receive anywhere between $1,000 to $7,000 per year for 4 years. And then depending on that depends on your cumulative high school GPA. There are additional scholarship opportunities available up to a full ride, but they do require additional documents and possibly interviews. So first year students at NIU are typically required to live on campus their first year, but that's it. They can choose to move off campus after that if they'd like. And then we also have 16 Division I sports, 23 club sports, 40 plus intramural sports. And the cool thing about that is all of our on-campus games are free for students to attend. So that's not really a common thing for large universities or Division I schools. Sometimes you have to pay for a season pass or any of that. So something to consider when you're looking at schools. Is that important to you? Is it not important to you? I think it's an added perk. It gives you something else to do on the weekends or during the week when you want to take a break from studying. We do also have 300 plus student clubs and organizations. So being a large institution, that's kind of one of the perks, is that we have tons and tons of organizations. So there are tons of ways to get involved and be a part of the community outside of your classroom participation. So we'll go to the next slide. Talking about fit with a large public institution. Being a public institution often means that the cost of tuition is more affordable, but not always. If you're looking at out-of-state public institutions, please check to see if their tuition is different for in-state or out-of-state. NIU doesn't have an out-of-state tuition. It's all the same for our domestic students, but most have that separate one. So you really want to look at that. And I believe that Emily and Lo both talked about, being a private institution, it's all the same tuition. So that is kind of a nice thing to not have to consider there. Location of school, is it important for you to be close to a big city? If they aren't near a big city, like for NIU, it's great. We're close to Chicago, but we're not in it. So we have the access to all the resources, all the internships, jobs, but we don't have all the hustle and bustle and traffic. So, everyone's a little bit different because, like Lo said, you take public transportation, you're wherever you need to be really quickly. So you kind of have to think about the location of the school, ease of access. We have a wide variety of academic programs. So if that's something that, what I always recommend is, if you're undecided, make sure there's things that interest you but make sure that if you know what you want to do, that the school offers that program. Semester system for NIU, Emily and Lo talked plenty about it. I don't need to go into it further. And then for physical size of the campus, just think about how long it takes to walk campus. Is there a bus system? Are they bike friendly? NIU's campus is 756 acres, so we're pretty large. From one side of campus to the other typically can take 20 minutes walking. So some people enjoy having a large campus like that because maybe your residence halls are on one side of campus, classes are on the other. And so when you go home at night, you really feel like you're going home. You're not on campus, even though you are. So again, just kind of get a feel for campus size. Do you like that? Do you want it to be smaller? We also have alumni networks. Larger schools tend to have larger alumni networks simply because the amount of students that graduate. You know, if you have 12,000 students, hopefully most of them are graduating in a timely manner. And so we utilize our alumni a lot of the time for mentoring, internship, and job postings. So, you know, ask schools, like, how do you utilize your alumni? Are they big involved in things that you do? So kind of get a feel for that, because for us, it's a great resource for our students. We do also offer study abroad. We go to over 75 different countries. As a larger school, we also have some really unique opportunities to travel within the country, depending on your academic program. So like our Educate US program for students interested in teaching, we have programs where we have you shadow an educator in a different state. And so you learn a little bit about the processes in that state and what they go through, either it's a superintendent or whoever. So really cool things that you can get involved in. And then there are a lot of different ways to learn about different places and different cultures, and they don't have to be study abroad. Being a large, diverse campus, we also have our cultural resource centers. So those just help to enrich our NIU community. And I think that's it for me. So we're going to talk a little bit about tips and tricks and things to be aware of when you're trying to find that fit.
Yes, so now if you have questions during our tips and tricks, please feel free to use that Q&A box, and we will also leave some room for questions at the end. But now we just want to kind of talk about some things to consider. Again, no matter what school you want to go to, these are just some things to keep in the back of your mind as you're deciding to really help you narrow down what is your perfect fit. So the first thing is fast facts. You're going to hear that. We gave, you know, a snapshot of all of our fast facts today. You're going to hear those every time you go to a school. They are important information, but don't let those guide your entire decision process. All of our schools probably have very similar student to faculty ratios. That just means that, of course, all those schools are doing a good job of making sure we have enough faculty per student, but that doesn't actually depict the size of the school. So then also same with an average class size. AU's average class size is 25, but our classes don't really ever get bigger than about 30 to 50 students. Some bigger universities might have lecture halls. That is not a bad thing. Just remember that if you're in a lecture hall and if you like that bigger school setting, that you're just being your own advocate, you're getting to class, you're taking notes, and just making sure that you're being a part of the class. So really just thinking about the type of classroom setting that you learn best in. Resources are another thing. You're going to hear a lot of schools talk about their resources. This could be things like their advising center, their tutoring center, the computer labs. Do they offer free Wi-Fi? Do they offer free printing? There's a lot of different things that each school might offer across the board, like an advising center to help you pick your classes, and maybe not all of them offer free printing, for example. So just thinking of some of those things that wouldn't be, for me, a make or break decision, but good information to have so that you're not surprised when you get further in your decision process. Academic programs, that is something that I feel puts a lot of weight in your decision process. You're really wanting to make sure that you've got a school that of course has the program that you want to study, and maybe sometimes a backup plan or a minor that you're interested in. Just making sure that the schools you're looking at really cover areas of study that highly interest you and might have something extra if you decided to double major. Then for your size of school, this kind of goes back to those fast facts. The size of school, of course, is the student population. So as we mentioned, we talked about each of our student populations. This is something that you will see show a difference as you're visiting campuses. How a bigger school, you're going to see a lot of students walking around. At a smaller school, you'll still see a lot of students in passing periods, but maybe it's not as overwhelming to a student who may have come from a smaller high school. So just again, thinking of the size of school that you think that you would thrive in. And then my next point is on tuition and fees. So tuition and fees is something that you want to really focus on. Cost and your major are really two very important things in picking your perfect fit school. So asking schools what their tuition and fees are, and then kind of calculating that based on the scholarships that they offer. Don't get scared by sticker prices of schools that might sound a little expensive on the front end, because that's before you're taking into consideration financial aid and also if that school offers scholarships. That's just what the top of their tuition is, but students are typically getting some form of discount, which really would help in the financial department. That brings me to a really important point, the FAFSA. That is actually opening up in 2 days. So it's opening up really soon. So don't forget, you've probably been hearing about FAFSA a ton already, but do not forget to start that FAFSA starting October 1st. My good rule of thumb is to try and have it done before Halloween. That way you don't have to stress about it the rest of the semester. And that way you don't miss any deadlines if you were to qualify for any grants, which is money that you don't have to pay back. And then finally, scholarships, and this will kind of go into a little bit about the deadlines that Lo is going to talk about, but scholarships is going to be kind of your focus this year as a senior. You can be applying for scholarships all year long during your senior year. Some of them have deadlines that are in November, some have deadlines in May. Just keep searching for scholarships the entire time to make sure that you're exhausting any of those options for any free money that can help with your college career. And then just doing your research, you should never have to pay for free money. So you should not have to pay to sign up for a scholarship. You should just be submitting an application, writing a beautiful essay and turning that in and just waiting to find out if you get it. And then also just considering any schools that you might be applying for, making sure that you're keeping an eye on their scholarship deadlines. Some schools might have deadlines for you to get their merit-based scholarships, which isn't a bad thing. Just make sure that you're keeping an eye on those and applying early so that you don't miss any opportunities that could actually make or break that decision process. I do see that we have, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Emily, you're good.
I see we have a question about how different schools work with their police and manage their own police force. We can each kind of touch on this real quick. I can say that Aurora University does have their own campus public safety. So we have them patrolling the area and they're there to help in any way that they can. They're open 24/7. You can call them if you need them. I've gotten lots out of buildings before, so they're very helpful to get you in. And then also just being around campus to help keep our students safe if they need anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking the same thing for NIU. We do have our own police department on campus. So it's very similar. They're there for everything that you need help with. Being locked out of buildings being one of them. We also have the blue call boxes around campus, which most college campuses have. So it's just safety. If you ever feel unsafe and you need help, you can press the button and someone's there, and it's our police department that responds to those. And so I think, it's definitely different at some schools, but majority of schools, I'm sure Lo will share her city school experience.
Yeah, and it is similar. We do have DePaul campus safety here on both campuses. One thing is, because we are a part of the city of Chicago, we do work very closely to know what's going on in the area and the surrounding areas. We do connect with the local police force on those kinds of reports, as well as we do have some additional, and this is not just exclusive for an urban campus, but for DePaul, for example, if like, say you're walking, you're coming off the L and you're headed back to your dorm room and you're just like, you know what, I would prefer an escort, a campus safety escort, which I know that Aurora does that too. But they will also drive you in the car to the other places on campus, just because we are, again, integrated in the city. Lincoln Park is a very safe area, but you know, you can never be too certain. So I think I think that was a great question, because although we wouldn't have enough time for all of us to dive super deep into all of the things that our campus safety and security have in place, when you do a virtual visit with that individual school, or you do an on-campus visit, that is definitely an awesome question to ask, because we can really go into in depth. And when you see a tour, we can point out all of the different safety features that we have also integrated on campus along with campus safety.
All right, I'm gonna go to the next topic, deadlines. So make sure that you're looking at deadlines for each of the institutions you're interested in. Rolling admission, a couple terms that you'll see. Rolling admission, that means that schools are continuously reviewing applications and making decisions, continuously rolling. Early action means that if you apply by the early action date, you'll receive a decision by a certain time. So if you apply by early action, you're not required to commit to that school if you're accepted. Which on the other side is the early decision deadline. And that means that you apply early, and if you're accepted, you are obligated to enroll at that school. So you're only allowed to apply to one college as early decision because of that requirement. You can still apply to the other schools as your fallback, but typically students who do early decision know that that's the place that they really want to go first and foremost. In terms of deadlines, you'll also, and this is what Emily was going towards, in terms of deadlines, you want to be aware of possible scholarship deadlines. So typically having your application and supporting documents in by early November is recommended because everyone has a little bit different, but most of them are mid-December or mid-November, early December at the latest. Some schools don't have scholarships, like Emily said. They're continuously, you know, if you apply, you automatically get some type of merit scholarship. So just kind of know, but early November is a good thing to shoot for. Application wise, couple tips: check to see how you apply to each of the schools. Are they part of the Common App? Do they require you to apply through an application on their website? Is there an application fee? If so, are there ways to waive the fee? Can you attend an event, get the fee waived? Those types of things. Admissions requirements, what do you need to apply? High school transcripts are typically a must. Test scores, though, may be optional. Personal essay, statements, letters of recommendation. Do the documents have to be official, or can you send them yourself? So some things just to kind of consider. And then academic programs, like, are there additional information that you need for programs? For example, at NIU, we're test blind for university admission, but for a nursing program, we do require the ACT or SAT score for their admission program. So just something to consider. Surrounding location, I think we all talked a little bit about this. Rural, urban, suburban, are there things to do on and off campus? Is it near a big city? Do they have ease of access for internships and jobs? And then residence halls. Is there a requirement for students to live on campus? How many residence halls are there? What types of rooms, co-ed options, and that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. So the portion I'm going to speak about a little bit are, we'll start with commuting. So I mentioned this earlier on because I think it's so important to understand, like, the type of commuter or the type of options as a commuter student that you have at your institution. So for DePaul, we have again, the majority of freshmen are living on campus, but as students move, and we don't have an on-campus requirement, but as students move through their sophomore, junior, senior year, a lot of those students will find some campus housing around the area that is not necessarily owned by DePaul. And then we do have a base of students who are commuting from their homes, whether that's right here in the Chicagoland area or like right here in the city part, or whether they're coming from the suburbs. So there's multiple different types of students that are coming in, that are commuting to DePaul. And I know for other institutions, it's probably similar. It's not to say that if a student or if an institution has a large commuter base, that it means that no students are in the area or the campus feels like it's not very populated, there isn't that campus feel, because that absolutely doesn't have to be the case. Some schools may have, you know, a feel where students are just coming on campus for a class or two and leaving campus. I know for myself, and I'm pretty familiar with Aurora as well, and I'm sure NIU is the same, that even if a student is commuting to campus, they're usually staying on campus and going to the computer labs and interacting and staying active on campus. So you kind of want to see, I guess my point is that a commuting statistic about how many students commute doesn't always paint the full picture. So you want to try to see what kind of community that campus really has, and if that's going to be what you're looking for. On-campus student activities. So I was talking a little bit earlier about Division I athletics, but it doesn't have to just be athletics. There's so many different activities that schools will have. Some schools, like being located here in the city of Chicago, some of our activities on campus and off campus might look a little bit different. And for NIU, who has a very large campus, maybe they're doing things because they have a little bit more space. So there's all different types of activities that you can be involved in. And I think, you can get a good feel for what kinds of things that are going on at the institution by going online and kind of looking it up, what their calendars look like. But I'm going to hop to the bottom there really quickly, because I think one of the best ways to see this, go back, because obviously right now things look a little bit different, but you can go through social media and look at some of these institutions' pages and see what kind of activities or that feel and what kind of things they were doing with their students. So intramurals, concerts, different fairs, different festivals, all of that kind of stuff. Career services, this is one of those things that I definitely I tell my students, ask about at all institutions. You want to kind of see how career services is structured. Every school kind of does it different in the different offerings that they have, but most schools have a career services office that is helping you, launch yourself into that career. Experiential learning. This is really important to ask about if you're interested in doing research, internships, and study abroad. I know the other two institutions joining me have those opportunities, but not every school may have those. And some might have other experiential learning opportunities that I'm not thinking of or mentioning right now as well. So ask about what students are doing to get involved outside the classroom that is still relative to academics. And then campus visits, see the best way that school can have you visit, whether that's virtually right now. I know a lot of us are having in-person tours as long as things are staying under control. So we're really just, reach out and see what kind of availability schools have, because we are not only here to talk with you, but we are eager to talk to you. I know many of us are visiting schools virtually, your high school. Pay attention to see if we're coming to your high school. And if we're not, reach out to us. We'd be happy to definitely talk one-on-one on Zoom. I know we're all sort of offering that, and us admission counselors are very outgoing, chatty people who want to connect with our students. So it would be great if you reach out and we can connect with you. And then connecting with current students. So when you're looking at different offerings for visits and different virtual spaces or on campus, see if you can speak with current students. They're always going to be some of the best resources you can have. So whether that's attending a visit day that has a student panel, whether that's getting to talk with a tour guide virtually or in person, whether that's following social media accounts that feature students, those are all really good ways to kind of see things through their eyes as well. So that's really important. And then I will say it just one more time, again, social media is a great way to connect with institutions and just kind of seeing how the feel of it is as well, especially in this virtual world. I harp on that a little bit because I just know when I was going to school, which doesn't feel like too long ago, I wasn't thinking to follow any of my institutions on social media. That wasn't really a thing. And now there's this whole new platform for us to show you a little bit about our institution. So that's kind of all I have. Emily, Amanda, do you all have anything you'd like to add?
I think one of the tips that I have specifically for scholarships is treat them like their homework assignments. As annoying as homework is, it's really easy to put it in your calendar to apply for a scholarship every Wednesday night. And then there's 52 weeks in a year. So if you did it every Wednesday night, you've applied for 52. And you might not get all 52, but you might get 3 or 10 or who knows how many, because a lot of people are lazy and they're not filling them out. So if you've done it, chances are you're one of, 20, one of 100 out of, thousands that could have applied. So apply to as many as you can, like Emily said, but really, take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree with all of that. As Lo was mentioning with connecting with us, I did put our emails here at the bottom if you want to take a picture of this screen in order to email us if you have any specific questions about each of our schools. We'd love, like Lo said, to connect with you and to talk about our schools and really just help you with your college career search.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say before we wrap up here too is there were a few questions that came in that we did not get to just because that time flew by. Please know that you are definitely welcome to email any of us these questions and we will get back to you. We don't want you to feel like we're just missing them. We just want to make sure that the next session starts on time. So we are happy to cover these as well. So send us an email. Okay, I think StriveScan, we just have one other quick note for them. Is that correct?
You got it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Awesome job, ladies. And thank you to our participants for joining us this afternoon. Just a few housekeeping announcements before you log off. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. Again, I promise it's short, 4 questions. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide about the sessions. This is just one of many sessions happening over the next 4 to 5 weeks. So if you are interested in signing up for more sessions, please feel free to do that at IACAC.org. And then in about a week, you can also find this recording on that same website, IACAC.org, if you'd like to share the information with anyone and get any more of their contact information for our presenters. So again, thank you so much to everyone, and everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, guys.